That patio tile you've been walking past all summer, the one with the black streaks and the green film growing in the cracks, that's not just dirt, and scrubbing it harder isn't going to fix it. The Japanese figured out a long time ago that the problem isn't how hard you clean, it's the order you do it in. In the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly how to bring filthy outdoor tile back to looking like it was just laid down, no pressure washer, no expensive deck cleaner, and no kneeling there with a stiff brush for an hour. Just a couple of things you probably already have, and a method that works with the surface instead of against it. Let's get into it. Here's what most people do when they see a dirty patio. They grab a bucket, fill it with soapy water, and start scrubbing. And if they're really motivated, they rent a pressure washer. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it just moves the grime around, blasts the grout loose, or leaves streaky patches that dry looking almost as bad as before. The frustration is real. You spend 45 minutes out there in the heat, your knees are sore, and you stand back and think it looks okay, I guess. The reason that cycle keeps happening is that outdoor tile grime isn't one thing. It's usually three things layered on top of each other. A mineral deposit from rain and sprinkler water, an organic film from algae or mold spores, and on top of that, whatever dust and debris has settled and bonded to the moisture. When you scrub first, you're grinding all three layers together and pushing them deeper into the porous surface. You're not removing the problem, you're compressing it. The Japanese method for outdoor surfaces starts with a completely different logic. You loosen each layer on its own terms before you touch it. You let chemistry do the work that your arm shouldn't have to do, and the sequence matters as much as the ingredients. Here's where most people get it wrong. They treat all outdoor tile the same. Smooth ceramic on a covered porch behaves differently from rough, unglazed concrete tile in full sun. Glazed tile holds surface grime. Unglazed tile absorbs it. If you apply the same solution the same way to both and expect the same result, one of them is going to disappoint you. The method adjusts for that, and we'll walk through both. Start by looking at what you're dealing with. If your tiles have that chalky white haze, especially near the edges or anywhere water pools and evaporates, that's mineral scale. Calcium and magnesium from hard water leave that residue every time moisture dries on the surface. If the grime is dark green or black, especially in shaded corners or between joints, that's biological algae, mold, or lichen starting to establish. Most patios have both, but usually one dominates. For the mineral scale, you need something mildly acidic to dissolve it. White vinegar works. And it costs almost nothing. You can pick up a gallon for under $2. You don't need full strength. Mix 1 part white vinegar with 2 parts water in a spray bottle. That's your first solution. For smooth glazed tile, this is often all you need for the surface itself. For unglazed or textured tile, you'll want to let it sit a little longer, which we'll get to. For the biological layer, the green, the black, the living stuff, the Japanese approach uses something that might surprise you, baking soda, not as a scrub, not as a paste you rub in, just a light, dry dusting directly over the damp surface. Baking soda is alkaline, and algae and mold do not thrive in an alkaline environment. You're not killing it with chemicals. You're changing the conditions so it releases from the tile surface on its own. Now, here's the sequence, and this is the part that makes the difference. Step 1, wet the tiles completely with plain water first. Don't skip this. Dry tile is porous and will absorb your cleaning solution before it has a chance to work on the surface. You want the tile to be saturated so that the solution stays where it belongs on top. If it's a warm day, do this in the shade or in the early morning before the sun hits the patio directly, because solution evaporating too fast means it stops working before the grime releases. Step 2, apply your vinegar solution while the tile is still wet. Spray it generously across the surface. You'll see it start to interact with mineral deposits almost immediately, sometimes a very faint fizzing, sometimes just a slight color shift as the haze begins to loosen. Let it sit for 5 minutes. Don't touch it. Don't spread it. Let it do its job undisturbed. For unglazed or very porous tile, go to 8 minutes. Here's the part most people get wrong at this stage. They see it sitting there and they want to scrub it in. The moment you add mechanical friction, before the mineral layer has fully loosened, you're back to grinding. Patience is the active ingredient here. Step 3. While the vinegar solution is still sitting, dust a light layer of baking soda directly onto the surface. Yes, you're putting an alkaline substance on top of an acidic one, and yes, it will fizz. That reaction is gentle, nothing aggressive, but what it does is create microscopic agitation at the surface level that helps lift both the mineral and the biological layer at the same time without you having to provide the force. You're using chemistry as your brush. Let the combination work for another 3 to 4 minutes. The tile surface at this point will look a little foamy or slightly discolored. That's normal. That's the release happening. Step 4, rinse with water, not a pressure washer. A regular garden hose with a standard spray nozzle is enough. The key is to rinse from the top of the patio downward, so you're always pushing loosened debris off the surface, never back onto a section you've already rinsed. Work in sections if your patio is large. About 4 to 6 square feet at a time is manageable. As you rinse, you'll see the water running off darker or greenish at first, then clearing. That's the grime leaving. For most smooth ceramic or glazed tile, that's genuinely all it takes. The surface comes out without a single stroke of a brush. For textured or unglazed tile, there's one additional step, and this is where the Japanese approach does something most Western cleaning methods miss entirely. After the rinse, mix about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch into 1 cup of water and apply it to the still damp tile with a cloth, working it lightly into the textured surface. Then wipe off the excess. Cornstarch in Japan has been used for centuries as a gentle polishing agent on porous materials. What it does on unglazed outdoor tile is fill the microscopic pores temporarily, which has 2 effects. It brings up a quiet sheen that smooth tile doesn't need, but rough tile benefits from enormously. And it creates a very light barrier that slows down how fast the next round of organic growth takes hold. You're not sealing the tile, you're just making its surface slightly less hospitable to what made it dirty in the first place. Now let's talk about the grout lines. This is where most patio cleaning efforts fall apart, because people either ignore the grout entirely or attack it with something that damages the joint over time. Bleach-based products can lighten cement grout beautifully once, but they degrade the binder in the joint with repeated use. After a season or 2, the grout starts to crack and crumble, and now you have a much bigger problem than discoloration. The Japanese method for grout is almost embarrassingly simple. Mix baking soda with just enough water to form a paste thick enough to stay in place, not runny. Apply it directly to the grout line with an old toothbrush or a small pastry brush, pressing it gently into the joint. Let it sit for 10 minutes, then spray your vinegar solution directly onto the paste in the grout line. The fizzing you see this time is doing real work. It's lifting the biological material out of the grout's surface, not bleaching it away. Rinse thoroughly. The result is grout that looks clean because it is clean, not grout that looks clean because the color has been chemically altered. For grout that has gone very dark over several seasons and this is its first real treatment, you may need to repeat the process twice. Run the full sequence, rinse, let it dry for 20 minutes, then do it again. The second pass almost always removes what the first loosened but didn't fully lift. Here's the part most people get wrong with grout specifically. They see a little bit of darkening reappear within a few weeks and assume the method didn't work. What's actually happening is that the very top layer came clean, but biological growth a little deeper in the porous grout is working its way back to the surface as it dries out. This is normal. A second treatment a few weeks after the first one, once the grout is fully dry, catches that second wave and typically keeps it clean for a much longer stretch, sometimes through an entire season. One thing worth knowing before you start: if your patio has natural stone, tile, travertine, slate, limestone, marble, skip the vinegar step entirely. Acid and natural stone are not friends. The calcium carbonate in those materials reacts with acid and etches the surface, creating permanent dull patches that no amount of cleaning will fix. For natural stone outdoor tile, use plain warm water with a few drops of dish soap for the first step, and rely more heavily on the baking soda and the fizzing reaction for the biological layer. The method still works. The sequence stays the same, just remove the acid component. For ceramic, porcelain, and concrete tile, which covers the vast majority of residential patios in this country, the vinegar is completely safe and genuinely effective. Now here's something the Japanese approach builds into outdoor cleaning that Western methods almost never mention: the aftercare step that determines how long the clean lasts. Once your tile is dry, fully dry, give it a few hours in the sun, take a bucket of water, and add 4 or 5 drops of tea tree oil. Use this to do a final light wipe down of the entire surface with a damp cloth or a mop. Tea tree oil is naturally antifungal and anti-algae. You're not applying it to clean the tile. The tile is already clean. You're applying it to make the environment on the tile surface less welcoming to what caused the problem in the first place. A patio treated this way at the end of the season will take significantly longer to show the same level of grime the following spring. This whole process, the wetting, the vinegar solution, the baking soda reaction, the rinse, the grout treatment, the aftercare wipe runs about 45 minutes start to finish for an average size residential patio. The ingredients cost under $5 total, and the tile that comes out the other side looks like something you had to power wash to get there. That's the difference between cleaning something and understanding how it got dirty in the first place. Once you know its layers, and that each layer has its own logic, you stop fighting the surface, you work with it. Your patio has been sitting there through rain, sun, and seasons, collecting what the air and the ground throw at it. It doesn't need to be forced clean. It needs to be given the right conditions to let go of what it's holding. That's the Japanese way. No harsh chemicals, no pressure washer, and honestly, no scrubbing worth mentioning. If you want your whole home to feel this clean, subscribe to Kaizen Clean. We share one simple Japanese cleaning method every week.